And while you're cooking, be sure to check your spice cabinet. McCormick is recalling 3 seasonings for possible salmonella contamination.
That spice rack above your stove, the familiar labels, the red caps, the yellow tins, the blends your mother used and her mother used before her. Never once questioned. Neither were they. Here is what the seasoning industry does not want you to find out. Independent laboratory testing has detected tartrazine, synthetic anti-caking agents, and heavy metals including lead in some of the most trusted seasoning brands sold in Canada today. One brand on this list is selling Canadians a formula that Europe already rejected. Another is hiding over 100 chemical compounds behind 2 words, natural flavor. 11 brands to avoid, 3 that are actually worth it. Drop a comment with the seasoning you use every single day. Brand 1, Clubhouse, McCormick, Canada. Open your spice drawer right now. If there is a Clubhouse jar in there, this is for you. Clubhouse is the seasoning brand that built Canadian kitchens. The little glass jars, the red lids, the brand your grandmother had on her counter and never once thought to question. That familiarity is not an accident. McCormick has spent decades making sure their name feels like part of the furniture, invisible, trusted, unexamined. Here is what sits inside those familiar jars. Tartrazine, a synthetic azo dye, also known as Yellow 5, added to certain Clubhouse blends to deepen color on the shelf. In 2007, a landmark study published in The Lancet found direct links between synthetic food dyes, including tartrazine, and increased hyperactivity in children. The European Union responded with mandatory warning labels. The label reads, "May have an adverse effect on activity and attention in children." Canada reviewed the same evidence and decided no warning was necessary. Your child is shaking Clubhouse onto their eggs every morning. The EU requires a warning for that. Canada does not. Then there is silicon dioxide, an anti-caking agent that keeps the powder flowing freely. Silicon dioxide is the scientific name for sand. It is in the jar. It is not on the front label. For pregnant women cooking with Clubhouse daily, for parents who would make a different choice if the label told them everything, this is that information. McCormick reformulated for European markets. They did not reformulate for you. Your fix. Single ingredient spices from a named source. No blends, no dyes, no sand. Go check your spice rack right now. Up next, the barbecue staple on every Canadian patio table. The sodium numbers will change how you shake it forever. Brand 2, Lawry's Seasoned Salt, McCormick, Canada. Every Canadian barbecue, every backyard, every patio table from Victoria to Halifax. There is a Lawry's container somewhere within arm's reach. That yellow label, that red cap, that automatic shake before the burger hits the grill. Most people do not even think of it as a choice anymore. That automaticity is exactly the problem. Lawry's contains 600 milligrams of sodium per quarter teaspoon serving. Nobody uses a quarter teaspoon. Watch anyone cook with Lawry's and they are shaking for 2 to 3 full seconds. The actual sodium hitting that meal is multiples of what the nutrition label implies. The label is technically accurate. It is built around a serving size nobody uses in real life. Then there is the monosodium glutamate, present in Lawry's, disclosed in the ingredient list, not front-labeled. It sits in the middle of a list most Canadians never read past the first line. For migraine sufferers, MSG is a documented trigger consistent enough that neurologists include it in dietary guidance. Tricalcium phosphate rounds out the additive profile, another anti-caking agent disclosed only in fine print. For seniors managing hypertension who reach for Lawry's out of 40 years of habit, the sodium is a daily compounding problem. For diabetics monitoring intake carefully, the hidden sodium load is invisible damage accumulating one shake at a time. The flavor is real. The habit is real. The damage is also real. Your fix, sea salt, garlic powder, onion powder, smoked paprika from a named source. 4 ingredients. No MSG. No anti-caking agents. Costs less per use than Lawry's. Next, the cheap flavor fix in every budget kitchen. What Unilever reformulated for Europe and quietly left unchanged for Canada. Brand 3, Knorr Bouillon, Unilever, Canada. It dissolves into everything. Soups, stews, rice, pasta water. A single cube dropped into boiling water and the whole kitchen smells like something is cooking properly. Instant depth, instant comfort. That is what Knorr has sold Canadian families on for decades. Here is what is actually dissolving into your food. Knorr Bouillon sold in Canada contains monosodium glutamate, maltodextrin, and in certain products, partially hydrogenated palm oil. Unilever announced a global reformulation push to remove partially hydrogenated oils years ago. European versions were updated. Canadian formulations were not updated on the same timeline. Same brand, same packaging, different formula depending on which side of the Atlantic you were shopping on. Then there are disodium inosonate and disodium guanylate, flavor amplifiers most Canadians have never heard of, specifically designed to combine with MSG and multiply its impact at lower concentrations. They are why Knorr tastes so much more intense than plain seasoning. They are also why people sensitive to MSG react to Knorr even when they think they have avoided it. Listed in the ingredient panel. Never explained on the front. For single parents feeding multiple kids on a tight budget, Knorr is the obvious choice. Unilever knows exactly who is buying it. They reformulated for the market that demanded better. They left the budget market exactly as it was. Your fix. Real stock with a named ingredient list. It takes more time. It contains none of this. Hit subscribe right now. What Unilever did with Knorr is the same calculation every brand on this list made, and it gets worse from here. Next, the yellow package that built its entire identity on honesty. What is inside tells a completely different story. Brand 4, no name, Loblaws, Weston, no frills, no marketing, no nonsense. That is the entire brand promise. The yellow package, the plain black font, the implicit message that you are paying for the product and nothing else, just honest food at an honest price. Except the honesty stops at the packaging design. No name seasoning blends carry no country of origin disclosure. The paprika in that yellow tin could be coming from Hungary, Spain, Peru, or China. No name is not required to tell you, and they do not volunteer it. That sourcing opacity matters for one reason: aflatoxins. Aflatoxins are toxic compounds produced by mold on improperly stored crops. Paprika and chili powder are among the highest risk spice categories for contamination. The WHO classifies aflatoxins as Group 1 carcinogens, the same classification as asbestos and benzene, not possibly carcinogenic, carcinogenic, full stop. The CFIA tests imported spices for aflatoxins. What the CFIA does not publish is the testing cadence, the number of shipments tested, or the specific threshold limits by category. The monitoring exists, the transparency does not. For cancer patients reducing carcinogen exposure through every dietary decision, buying from an undisclosed source with no published testing transparency is not a footnote. It is the entire problem. No name built its identity on the idea that the yellow package means nothing is hidden. The sourcing of what is inside that package is completely hidden. Weston family. Loblaws shelves. Same conflict of interest as the butter investigation. Your fix. If the country of origin is not on the label, put it back. Next, the store brand that pairs sourcing anonymity with an aluminum compound linked to neurological damage. Brand 5, Compliments, Sobeys/Empire. You already met Compliments in the butter investigation. Same brand, same accountability gap, same sourcing opacity, different category, same outcome for you. No named spice producer, no named country of origin, no third-party testing disclosure anywhere on the packaging or the Sobeys website. The blend in that container was made by a co-manufacturer whose name you will never find in anything Sobeys has published. That is the baseline problem. Here is the specific one. Compliments. Seasoning blends contain sodium aluminosilicate as an anti-caking agent, an aluminum compound, added to prevent clumping. It works for that purpose. What it also does is introduce aluminum into food consumed daily, sometimes multiple times a day, by people who have no idea it is there. A 2014 study in the Journal of Alzheimer's Disease found significantly elevated aluminum concentrations in the brain tissue of Alzheimer's patients. The research does not establish aluminum as a definitive cause. It establishes a documented association replicated across multiple independent studies. Health Canada permits sodium aluminosilicate in seasonings with no upper limit. The European Food Safety Authority has called for reduced aluminum exposure. Canada has not acted. For seniors seasoning every meal every day, this is a compounding daily exposure with no sealing and no label disclosure. Sobeys knows what is in the blend. They have decided not to volunteer it. Your fix. Named producer, named origin, named ingredients. If any of those three are missing, put it back. Next. A seasoning so embedded in cultural cooking that questioning it feels almost disrespectful. The formula Nestlé kept for Canada after changing it everywhere else. Brand 6, Maggi seasoning sauce, Nestlé Canada. There are bottles of Maggi in kitchens across Canada that have never once been questioned. South Asian households, Caribbean households, West African households, Filipino households. This is not just a seasoning, it is a cooking language. A few drops into the pot and the dish tastes like home. That emotional connection is real. Nestlé has been living off it for decades without earning it. Maggi sold in Canada contains hydrolyzed soy protein and caramel color class 4. Hydrolyzed soy protein is a flavor enhancer produced by breaking down soy protein with acid. That process naturally generates free glutamate. Maggi contains MSG by another name, even when MSG does not appear in the ingredient list. For anyone avoiding monosodium glutamate for sensitivity reasons, hydrolyzed soy protein is the same compound arriving through a different door. Caramel color. Class 4 is produced using an ammonia process that generates 4-methylimidazole. California classifies it as a known carcinogen and requires warning labels above a defined threshold. Canada has no equivalent requirement. No warning, no label. Nestlé reformulated Maggi for markets that demanded accountability. The Canadian formulation has not been updated. The bottle that feels like home was changed for consumers elsewhere. Canadian consumers did not push back. Nestlé did not volunteer the change. For immigrant families cooking with Maggi every day, this is a daily carcinogen exposure hidden inside a cultural institution. Your fix: tamari or coconut aminos with a single origin disclosure. The depth of flavor is there. The 4-methylimidazole is not. That was the brand hiding a carcinogen inside a cultural staple. What comes next is hiding something inside a family ritual. Taco Tuesday will never feel quite the same. Brand 7, Old El Paso. Taco seasoning, General Mills, Canada. Taco Tuesday. The kit on the counter, the shells on the baking tray. The seasoning packet torn open and shaken into the browning beef. The smell that brings everyone to the table without being asked. For a generation of Canadian families, Old El Paso is not a brand. It is a weekly ritual. General Mills has been quietly changing what is inside that ritual without changing anything on the outside of the box. The taco seasoning packet contains maltodextrin as a primary filler, a highly processed starch derivative with a glycemic index higher than table sugar. It raises blood glucose faster than sugar does, added not for flavor, not for nutrition. Added because it is cheap and adds bulk to a packet that would otherwise contain far less product. You are paying for seasoning and receiving a blood sugar spike with a small amount of actual spice inside it. Then there are the artificial flavors, listed as a single entry. Canadian labeling law does not require disclosure of what compounds that category contains. It could be 1 compound, it could be 40. The label will say artificial flavors either way. General Mills reformulated Old El Paso for the United Kingdom market. The Canadian formulation was not updated. British families got the cleaner packet. For children eating taco night weekly, the maltodextrin glycemic load is a repeated invisible blood sugar event. For diabetics who think a homemade taco is a safe meal, the seasoning packet is working against every dietary decision they are making. Your fix: cumin, smoked paprika, garlic powder, oregano, chili powder from a named source. No maltodextrin. No artificial anything. Hit subscribe. The next brand cut corners on the source of the spices themselves. Next, the biggest container on the shelf, the lowest price in the aisle, and American testing results every Canadian buyer deserves to know about. Brand 8, Badia Spices. The containers are enormous. The prices are impossibly low. More spice, less money, no apparent reason to look closer. That is exactly what Badia is counting on. Badia is imported and distributed across Canada through Walmart, No Frills, and independent grocery retailers. Headquartered in Florida, sourced from multiple origin countries depending on the product and the season. Which countries? Which farms? Which harvests? That information does not appear on the label. A single container of Badia paprika could contain spice from 3 different countries blended into one undisclosed mix. Canadian law does not prevent this. Badia does not volunteer anything beyond what the law requires. The contamination concern is not theoretical. Consumer Reports conducted independent laboratory testing and flagged multiple low-cost import brands for heavy metal content above safe levels. Lead was detected. Cadmium was detected. Both are neurotoxins that accumulate in tissue over time. Neither has a safe lower threshold for children. The testing identified low-cost import spices with undisclosed sourcing as the highest contamination risk category in the entire spice market. Health Canada has not published equivalent testing results for Badia products sold here. The American data exists, the Canadian equivalent does not. For families buying Badia because the budget demands the largest container at the lowest price, the savings calculation changes entirely once heavy metal accumulation enters the equation. Your fix, smaller container. Named origin, verified source. The price difference is cents per meal. The exposure difference is not. Next, the premium option, the dark packaging. The elevated price designed to make you feel like someone already did the research. They did not. Brand 9, PC Black, label Spice Collection, Loblaws. The dark packaging, the minimalist font. The slightly higher price point that signals someone did the sourcing work so you would not have to. It looks like the premium choice. It is designed to look exactly like that. It is a private label product made by the same family that controls the shelf it sits on. The Weston family owns Loblaws. Loblaws owns PC Black Label. Loblaws controls how much shelf space every competing spice brand gets in every Loblaws store in Canada. When the company making the product also controls the retail environment selling it, there is no independent check. Not on sourcing, not on testing, not on label claims. No named farm. No named origin region on most products. No third-party certification. The premium positioning is entirely aesthetic. Dark packaging, clean font, higher price. None of those are sourcing disclosures. Then there is irradiation. Certain PC Black Label spices are irradiated to extend shelf life. Legal in Canada. Must be disclosed by law. The disclosure appears in fine print below the nutrition panel in language most shoppers never reach. The European Union requires far more rigorous justification before approving irradiation per product category. Canada's threshold is considerably more permissive. For health-conscious buyers who reached for the dark package specifically because it felt like the cleaner choice, the premium aesthetic is not a sourcing guarantee. It never was. Your fix? Premium price should buy premium transparency. If the origin is not named, you're paying for packaging, nothing else. Next, a seasoning in Eastern European Canadian kitchens for generations. The version sold here is not the same one made for Europeans back home. Brand 10, Vegeta, Podravka. There are households in Canada where Vegeta has been on the counter for 30 years. Croatian families, Polish families, Serbian families, Ukrainian families. The orange and green container that came over with the first generation and never left. Questioning it feels like questioning the food itself. That loyalty is exactly what Podravka has been quietly exploiting. Vegeta is manufactured by Podravka, a Croatian food company. The product tastes like the cooking back home, like a grandmother's kitchen. That connection is genuine. The formula is not what those families think they are buying. Vegeta sold in Canada contains monosodium glutamate, maltodextrin, and artificial flavors. That formulation is not the same as the version produced for domestic European consumption. Podravka manufactures two distinct products. The European version operates under stricter EU additive regulations. The North American export version is produced to a different standard. Same brand name, same orange and green packaging, same emotional associations. Different formula. A seasoning built entirely on the nostalgia of authentic European tradition is not selling Canadians the European formula. It is selling them an export version reformulated for a market Podravka calculated would not notice. Eastern European Canadian communities trusted this brand because it tasted like home. Podravka leveraged that trust to deliver a different product than the one those communities believed they were buying. For seniors who have cooked with Vegeta every day for decades, this is not a minor footnote. It is a decades-long substitution they were never told about. Your fix: single origin spices with named sourcing. Build your own blend. The flavor memory is in the spice combination, not the maltodextrin filling the container around it. The next brand will sting the most. You made it through 10 and walked into the health food aisle feeling safe. Brand 11 is exactly why that feeling is dangerous. Brand 11, Simply Organic, Frontier Co-op. You drove past 10 other options to get here. You walked past the yellow tins and the red caps and the discount containers. You found the health food aisle. You reached for the green label, the certified organic stamp, the brand that feels like the decision a careful person makes. That feeling is the most expensive thing Simply Organic sells. Frontier Co-op, a Nebraska-based company, owns Simply Organic. The certified organic claim is real on most products. Organic spices exist and Simply Organic sources them. That part is not the problem. The problem is two words in the middle of the ingredient list on multiple blends: natural flavor. Natural flavor is a legally permitted umbrella term under Canadian food labeling law. A single entry that can contain over 100 distinct chemical compounds without individual disclosure. They do not need to be named. They do not need to appear anywhere beyond those 2 words. Natural flavor is not an ingredient, it is a category. Canadian law treats it as a single line item. For cancer patients building a diet around known traceable ingredients, an entry that legally conceals over 100 unnamed compounds is not a minor concern. It is the entire problem condensed into 2 words. The organic certification covers how the primary spices were grown. It does not govern what gets added after. Simply Organic is counting on you not knowing the difference. Your fix: single ingredient organic spices with nothing added, not blends, not natural flavor, just the spice and the source. Go check your spice rack right now. Pull every jar. Read the full ingredient list on every single one. 11 brands. 11 different ways the seasoning industry counted on you to flavor your food without reading what you were flavoring it with. Some were hiding synthetic dyes, some were hiding aluminum compounds, some were hiding 100 chemical compounds behind 2 words designed to look clean. 3 brands did not do any of that. Here is what they chose instead. Safe. Pick 1. Épices de Cru, Montreal. Philippe and Ethne de Vienne have been sourcing spices directly from farmers since 1993. Every product carries a named origin, not a region, not a continent, a specific place where a specific farmer grew a specific crop. That is what direct trade sourcing actually looks like, not a certification logo, a name on the label. No anti-caking agents, no irradiation, no synthetic additives, no natural flavor umbrella entries. What is in the jar is what the label says. Nothing more. The Montreal Spice Merchant operates out of Marché Jean Talon and ships across Canada. Individual spices run approximately $6 to $12 depending on variety and size. Every blend discloses every ingredient by name with its origin attached. For families who want to know where every ingredient comes from. For cancer patients building a diet around full traceability. For allergy sufferers who need every compound named. This is the standard the entire industry should meet. Almost none of it does. Safe Pick 2. Silk Road, Spice Merchant, Calgary. Calgary built something worth knowing about. Silk Road is an independent spice retailer operating out of Alberta with online shipping across Canada. Small batch. Named sourcing regions. Whole spices ground to order so the product reaching you has not been sitting in a warehouse for 18 months losing potency. No fillers. No anti-caking agents. No irradiation. No natural flavor entries. Every Silk Road product is the spice and nothing else. Every component of every blend is named individually. Individual spices run approximately $7 to $15. A smaller quantity of a potent, clean, properly sourced spice goes further in cooking than a large container of diluted, aged, anti-caking agent-laden powder. The volume calculation is not what it appears to be on the discount shelf. For athletes tracking every nutritional input. For seniors who want to know exactly what they are consuming. Silk Road is the answer Western Canada built for itself. Safe Pick 3. Splendor Garden, British Columbia. This one matters because of where it is sold. Épices de Cru and Silk Road are exceptional products that require seeking out. Splendor Garden is certified organic, Canadian-owned, and available at Whole Foods, select Sobeys and Metro locations, and online nationwide. The safe pick that does not require a special trip. Single-ingredient spices and simple blends. No anti-caking agents. No irradiation. No natural flavor entries. The organic certification is legitimate, and the formulation does not exploit the additive loopholes that disqualified other organic brands on this list. Individual spices run approximately $5 to $9. For budget-conscious health shoppers who need a clean option at mainstream retail, Splendor Garden fills that gap. For pregnant women who need to trust every ingredient. For families with young children where every daily exposure matters. It is on the shelf at a store you already go to. There is no reason to walk past it. 11 brands betting you would season your food without reading what you were seasoning it with. 1 hiding a synthetic dye that triggered EU warning labels. 1 concealing an aluminum compound with no upper use limit. 1 selling Eastern European Canadians an export formula while charging them for the authentic one. And 1 burying 100 unnamed compounds behind the words natural flavor on a certified organic label. 3 brands that never played any of those games. Épices de Cru, Silk Road, Splendor Garden. That is your entire list. The price difference between the worst option here and the best one is approximately $4 per jar. $4 buys a named source, a clean ingredient list, and the information you were never given at the other end of the spice aisle. Go check your spice rack one final time. Share this with someone who seasons everything without reading anything. Subscribe so you never miss the next investigation. Question everything. Support local. Choose carefully.